Look down at your hands right now. What if the remote control for your brain's deepest, most profound frequencies isn't, an app you download?
Right, or some kind of grueling mental gymnastics routine you force yourself through.
Exactly. What if the key to fundamentally altering your baseline state of consciousness was just a microscopic change in how you hold your index finger?
I mean, it sounds almost too simple to be true, but when we look at the neurobiology, the hands are essentially like an external keyboard for the central nervous system.
We spend so much time trying to think our way out of thinking problems. We completely neglect the physical pathways that actually dictate our mental states.
Do really do.
Well, we are so glad you are here with us for another deep dive. Today, we are targeting the ultimate return on investment for your time.
Yeah, we're looking at a highly specific, densely packed methodology from a creator known as Osman, or the blind Muslim yogi.
And Osman brings a really fascinating multi-layered background to the table. But we should clarify something important right up front.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to remember that he is permanently blind only since May 2023.
Right. So many times in his videos, he describes things that can only be described by someone with eyesight.
Exactly. And that's because he had normal eyesight for his entire life before May 2023. So just keep that context in mind.
It's an important detail. And his background is just massive. He operates as an energy healer, a yoga and meditation teacher, and crucially, an entrepreneur.
He brings nearly 50 years of dedicated practice to his methodology.
That 50-year timeline is, like, the critical variable here. He attained his first samadhi experience by the age of 19.
Oh, wow. At 19, that's wild.
Yeah, and his practice was incredibly intensive. At certain stages of his life, he was practicing up to 18 hours a day.
18 hours a day. I can't even fathom that.
Right. And even currently, he practices a minimum of 8 to 10 hours a day, just sharpening the sword, as he puts it.
So when someone with half a century of that kind of rigorous trial and error tells you they found a game changer, you listen.
You absolutely listen. He has systematically stripped away all the dogma to find the absolute bedrock mechanics that actually yield results.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to extract what Osman calls his ultimate, non-negotiable game changer for daily meditation.
It's a specific physical configuration called the DYAN Mudra. That's spelled DHYAN.
He insists that mastering this single technique will transform your practice over the next 5 years. So I want to start by dissecting the pure physical mechanics of this posture.
Because the precision here matters immensely, right?
Exactly. Osman described the anatomy of the DYAN Mudra with very strict parameters. You bring both hands into play.
On each hand, you lightly touch the tip of the thumb to the tip of the index finger.
And the remaining 3 fingers, the middle, ring, and pinky, they just stay outstretched. Not rigidly pointed to the point of tension, but extended naturally.
And here's the spatial requirement that he really emphasizes. Your palms must be facing upwards.
Yes, and your hands must be resting completely relaxed on your thighs.
I really want to push on that last point. Osman explicitly notes that while you can hold your arms suspended or outstretched, the real key is resting them on the thighs.
I hear that, but, it sounds a bit reductionist. We're constantly told that meditation requires intense mental discipline and overcoming discomfort.
Like you have to suffer to get the benefits.
Yeah, exactly. So why the emphasis on something as passive as just resting the hands?
Well, it comes down to cognitive load and biomechanical efficiency. As you go deeper into meditation, your brain shifts frequency.
Right.
To do that, it needs to withdraw processing power from maintaining the physical body. If you are holding your arms up, your brain is actively dedicating neural bandwidth to that exertion.
Oh, that makes total sense. So you are anchoring your nervous system to the feeling of tension.
Spot on. It reminds me of the Huberman Lab deep dives, like when Professor Andrew Huberman talked with Dr. Sam Harris about how your physical posture directly dictates your state of alertness.
Oh yeah, you need that perfect balance of calm but focused.
Exactly. And in another Huberman episode with Dr. Matthew Walker, they discussed how laying down entirely signals the brain to fall asleep.
So resting the hands on the thighs in this specific mudra keeps the spine alert, but it puts the nervous system in neutral.
Shifting into neutral is a highly accurate way to visualize it. Relaxation isn't just about comfort. It is the prerequisite for mental depth.
The way I'm looking at it now, it's less about adopting a holy shape and more like dropping an anchor in a storm.
Or like an athlete getting into the starting blocks.
Right. And listener, I actually want you to feel the mechanics of this in your own body right now. Wherever you are sitting, place your hands palm down on your thighs.
Pay close attention to the somatic feedback. Notice that slight internal rotation of your shoulders.
Notice how your breathing is likely isolated to your upper chest. It feels perhaps slightly constricted or defensive.
Palms down definitely feels guarded, almost like you are bracing yourself.
Yeah, I feel that. Now slowly rotate your forearms so your palms are facing upwards, resting the backs of your hands on your thighs.
Bring the thumb and index finger together lightly. Extend the other 3 fingers.
As you turn your palms up, feel the tension drain from your forearms. Notice how your shoulders naturally rotate externally.
They pull back just a fraction of an inch. And pay attention to your diaphragm. Your breathing likely just deepened without you actively trying to change it.
It's wild. My chest physically have more room to expand just from that micro-rotation.
The physiological cascade from just turning the hands over is incredible. It's not a placebo.
But this brings me to a detail in Osman's material that completely caught me off guard.
Oh, about his early days.
Yeah. Even with these clear biomechanical benefits, Osman admits that when he first encountered this mudra, he thought it was complete hocus pocus.
What's fascinating here is that honesty. A master with 50 years of experience admitting he thought it was a waste of time.
He literally uses the phrase hocus pocus. He felt it yielded zero benefits early on.
Instead, he opted for what he calls a more comfortable baseline. Just sitting upright on a couch, not even crossing his legs, and simply clasping his hands together in his lap.
He found that basic, clasped hand posture far more beneficial as a beginner.
Which tells us something profound about the architecture of skill acquisition.
It really reminds me of the Mel Robbins podcast, like her episode with Dr. Joe Dispenza, where they talk about how complex routines actually trigger resistance in the brain.
Yes. Or Mel's conversation with Dr. Tar Swart about neuroplasticity. You have to lower the friction to start.
And even Mel's interview with Jay Shetty touched on this. Beginners need structural comfort first. Adding a complex physical posture on top of mental friction just makes the system crash.
Clasping the hands acted like training wheels for Osman. It let him focus entirely on observing his mind.
But, training wheels eventually become a liability. If you want to ride in the Tour de France, you can't have them on the bike.
They keep you upright at 1 mile an hour, but they prevent you from taking sharp corners at speed.
And that is exactly what Osman discovered. The clasped hand posture was great for basic relaxation, but it was physically closed off.
It didn't create the open, receptive environment required for what he terms the subtle energies.
You actually see this exact progression in a lot of classic texts, like in Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi.
Oh, absolutely. The initial skepticism before the internal sensitivity develops.
Or even Ramakrishna and Swami Sivananda from the Divine Life Society. They all talk about how the body has to be primed for these deeper states.
What Osman initially dismissed as hocus pocus turned out to be the highly engineered tool he needed to break through his plateau.
He just hadn't developed the internal sensitivity to utilize that tool yet. Let's dig into that progression, because this is where we get into serious neurobiology.
Right, moving from structural alignment into brainwaves.
Osman states that as he advanced, his awareness shifted toward these subtle energies. And then he makes this bold claim.
That the DYAN Mudra automatically activates the theta level.
Yes, he explicitly says it pushes you toward theta, even if you aren't currently experiencing it.
To understand the weight of that, we have to define the landscape of brainwaves. When you are active and analyzing a problem, you are in beta. High frequency, fast, alert.
And as you close your eyes and relax, you drop into alpha.
Right, a slower, calmer frequency. But theta is a different realm entirely. It operates between 4 and 8 hertz.
Theta is like the twilight zone, right?
Precisely. It's the frequency of REM sleep, of deep hypnosis, the liminal space right before you fall asleep.
It is an incredibly elusive state to maintain consciously.
In theta, the brain's default mode network, the part responsible for rumination and anxiety, quietens dramatically. This is where profound neuroplasticity occurs.
Accessing theta consciously is basically the holy grail of meditation. But if it's that elusive, I have to challenge the idea that touching 2 fingers together just magically transports you there.
It sounds like a stretch, right? How can a physical gesture create a feedback loop powerful enough to shift brainwaves from beta to theta? Well, it is not magic. It is neural mapping. Think of the somatosensory homunculus. The hands and the lips take up a massive, disproportionate amount of real estate in the brain.
Oh, right. The nerve density in our fingertips is staggering.
So when you lightly touch the thumb and index finger together, you are closing a highly sensitive neural circuit. You send a constant stream of tactile data to the brain.
So it acts as an anchor for the nervous system.
More like a focal point that crowds out the noise. It gives the conscious mind a tether.
And combined with the upward palms and open diaphragm, it signals the vagus nerve.
Exactly. Engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, shifting out of fight or flight and into rest and digest.
This reminds me so much of the conversations on Buddha at the gas pump with Rick Archer.
Well, for sure. Like his episode with Dr. Bonnie Greenwell, talking about the biological reality of Kundalini and subtle energies.
Yes. And Rick's interview with Swami Sarva Priyananda on how the body's subtle channels need to be gently coaxed, not forced.
Or even the episode with Craig Holliday on Buddha at the gas pump, discussing how somatic anchors ground profound spiritual awakenings.
It's all connected. The physical habit does the heavy lifting. But I want to temper this for the listener who might just be trying to de-stress after a brutal workday.
Right. We don't want to add performance anxiety.
If Osman is saying this pushes you to theta, do you need to sit down tonight and worry about achieving theta?
Osman handles that brilliantly. He says the mudra pushes you toward theta even though you may not experience it yet.
So you do not need to consciously know what theta feels like?
No, and you don't need to force your brain into that frequency. It is a background program.
The posture is basically a catalyst.
Yeah, you are installing a software update. You don't need to know how the code is written for the update to optimize your computer.
You just have to let it run.
Huh.
Osman is promising that the physical habit alone pulls your baseline consciousness toward that advanced state over time.
I love that. It completely democratizes the process. You don't need a PhD. You just need to arrange your hands.
And speaking of cutting through the noise, there is a fascinating contradiction in the text that ties directly into Osman's identity as an entrepreneur.
This is one of my favorite parts.
He notes that in the yogic tradition, there are 12 major mudras. Yet, he bluntly admits he only knows of one other mudra besides DYAN, doesn't practice the rest, and says he doesn't have time for it.
That sentence is the linchpin of his entire philosophy. You have a man with half a century of deep practice, casually dismissing almost the entirety of the mudra catalog.
Because of lack of time, it is a stunning display of ruthless pragmatism.
It's the ultimate application of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule applied to ancient spirituality.
This sounds exactly like something Stephen Bartlett would dig into on The Diary of a CEO.
Oh, totally. Like when Stephen had Mo Gaddad on to discuss engineering happiness through practical equations.
Or Stephen's episode with Jay Shetty, stripping away the monastic complexity for daily utility.
And even Bartlett's interview with Deepak Chopra, focusing on the actual mechanisms of mind-body healing rather than just theory.
An entrepreneur doesn't care about collecting knowledge just to be an encyclopedia. They care about the mechanism that moves the needle.
Osman acts more like a master locksmith. He doesn't carry 12 elaborate lockpicks to show off. He carries the one skeleton key that opens the door.
He has identified the DYAN Mudra as that skeleton key. The relief that provides cannot be overstated.
We are living through a crisis of information overload in the wellness space. If you decide to start meditating today, you are instantly paralyzed by a choice.
Do I do Vipassana? Do I need a singing bowl? The cognitive load is so high that most people experience decision fatigue and abandon the effort.
Osman is giving us explicit permission to ignore the noise. He took 50 years of intense trial and error, filtered out the dead ends, and handed us the distilled result.
Ignore the 11 other hand postures. Do this one. It is a massive reduction in complexity.
And you see this pragmatic approach echoed by Swami Vivekananda, too. His whole concept of practical Vedanta was about applying spiritual truths efficiently in daily life.
Or, like Tony Robbins always talks about, modeling the absolute best behavior to collapse time.
Lewis Howes covered that beautifully on the School of Greatness with Tony Robbins, finding the single highest ROI action.
Yes, and Lewis's episode with Joe Dispenza, or his deep dive with Wim Hof, it's all about finding that one accessible lever that shifts the whole system.
Which brings us to Osman's specific prescription, the daily cost of utilizing this skeleton key.
This is where the accessibility peaks. What does Osman recommend? Dedicating just 2 minutes a day, 120 seconds.
By setting the bar at 2 minutes, he completely circumvents the brain's defense mechanisms.
When you tell yourself you're going to meditate for 30 minutes, the amygdala, the threat detection center, triggers resistance.
It views a 30-minute commitment as a massive disruption to your schedule. You suddenly find excuses. You need to clean the kitchen.
But 2 minutes. The brain doesn't register 2 minutes as a threat. It slips right under the radar.
You can do 2 minutes while your coffee is brewing.
So what does this all mean? It means making this a non-negotiable part of daily life. But here is the critical catch, and it's a brilliant psychological tension.
Right, the timeline.
Osman pairs this microscopic daily commitment with a massive macroscopic horizon. He doesn't promise you will be transformed by Friday.
No, his timeline is deliberate. He tells you to look out over the next 6 to 12 months for initial shifts, then a 2-year period.
And finally, he states unequivocally that when you reach 5 years of this daily practice, you're going to thank him.
5 years. In a culture obsessed with biohacking our way to enlightenment over the weekend, demanding a 5-year commitment is almost rebellious.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is an embrace of compounding interest applied to neurobiology.
This reminds me of the conversations on the Ranveer show with Beer Biceps, like when Ranveer had Sadhguru on, discussing the long arc of spiritual growth.
Yes, or Ranveer's episode with Gaura Gopal Das, where they broke down how microscopic daily habits compound over years.
Even his interview with Sri Ravi Shankar touched on the patience required for genuine nervous system regulation.
2 minutes a day seems insignificant on day one. But if you sustain that structural shift every single day for 5 years, you are engaging in profound synaptic pruning.
You are literally rewiring the default mode network, repeatedly sending that specific neural signal from the fingertips.
So it's not about the depth of any single session. It's about the cumulative structural change over 1,800 days.
He designed a system where the daily effort is so low it's impossible to fail, but the timeline guarantees permanent transformation.
It fundamentally changes how we think about personal growth. Rainn Wilson actually explored this perfectly on the Soul Boom podcast.
Oh yeah, his episode with Reza Aslan.
Exactly. The idea that genuine spiritual revolution isn't a flash in the pan, it's a slow daily shift.
Rainn's interview with Dr. Lisa Miller on the science of spirituality hit on this too, and his chat with Arthur Brooks about happiness being a long-term investment.
Instead of burning ourselves out with massive, unsustainable overhauls, we just need to consistently apply the right physical mechanism.
It's incredibly empowering.
And for those listening who want to explore more of how Osman blends these pragmatic approaches with deeper ancient sciences, his digital hub is yogawellness786.com.
Yeah, his mission is really to encourage a scientific, result-based methodology, to revive these lost ancient sciences to improve health, relationships, and peace of mind.
And we really want to emphasize, we're just conveying the ideas in the source material here, but Osman offers a ton of this on his YouTube channel as a free service.
He doesn't withhold any information there. All the relevant stuff can be found for free.
And always remember to remind the viewers of the free 5-minute yoga and meditation program available for download from yogawellness786.com.
Just remember, the $5 anxiety fix is no longer available, so don't look for that. The promotion is over.
Right. But if you do want to engage his paid services, you can refer to his website for his Patreon channel.
That's where you access paid live, daily video lessons, one-to-one consultations, and group sessions.
And of course, his exclusive energy healing service. Osman is a master-level bioenergy healer with telepathic healing capabilities.
Using principles of quantum entanglement, he specializes in critical care, recovery, and terminal illnesses.
Which is incredible. But he is very clear that his services are complementary. They're not a replacement for medical treatment. They just enhance what might be lacking.
Given his incredibly high success rate over 50 years and his in-depth study from the Far East, Middle East, and the West,
it's why his treatments and consultation fees are not inexpensive. It's a premium-level service at a premium price.
Which makes sense. He has saved countless lives and influenced many for the better.
So let's pull all these threads together. We started by looking at the pure biomechanics of the DYAN Mudra, the upward palms resting on the thighs.
We saw how this isn't just a symbolic shape, but a physiological necessity to put the nervous system in neutral.
We explored the journey of the skeptic, validating that hocus-pocus feeling beginners get.
And understanding why training wheels, like clasping your hands, are necessary early on but have to be discarded eventually.
Which led us to the mechanism of THETA, demystifying how a simple tactile input acts as a background program for the brain.
Drawing on parallels from Gopi Krishna regarding the biological reality of these energies.
And we framed all of this through Osman's entrepreneurial lens, the ruthless elimination of 11 out of 12 mudras to focus on the single skeleton key.
Practiced for a non-negotiable 2 minutes a day over a compounding 5-year horizon.
It is a masterclass in efficiency. And it brings us back to the premise that the body is not just a vessel that carries the mind around.
It is the control panel.
Osman's 50-year clinical trial suggests that something as seemingly trivial as the geometric configuration of your fingers can systematically reprogram your brain.
Which leaves you with this to consider.
If a subtle shift in your hands can fundamentally alter your reality over 5 years, what other tiny, seemingly insignificant physical habits are currently shaping your reality without you even realizing it?
That is the exact question that initiates real self-awareness.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.